Hello everybody, this video is going to be me telling you about my mid-year book tag. So mid-year book tag is we're now at the end of June. We're 6 months done into the year. It is literally June 31st as I'm recording this, I believe. And this is the first half of the year reading for me and what I really am excited for in the upcoming next 6 months. The first question that I'm going to answer is books that made me cry. Now I have two big ones here and I have videos of me crying while reading both of them. So the first one, the very impactful one, was Kristen Hanna, The Nightingale. I got this book recommendation from Sarah Caroli, I believe is how you pronounce her name, and I saw her read it and bawl her eyes out, and the next day I was at Barnes & Noble and bought it without hesitation. I didn't really know that much what it was about. I just knew that it was a World War II fiction based in France, and it follows two sisters on their journey throughout World War II and the Nazis taking over France and living very opposite lives. Wow, this book is devastating, and I really emphasize that. If you have a very weak heart and just can't cry to books, don't read this one. Just don't. I genuinely did not expect to bawl like I did. I saw Sarah do it, and for some reason I was like, I won't cry that hard. I did. I really did. The second one is Powerful. Now this is the novella of Lauren Roberts, Powerless, and this just came out in April and I cried and I read it in one night and it is amazing. I can't really tell you like that much about it, but it follows Peyton's best friend while she's in the trials, and you have to read Powerless to read this one. Now I've got my two most disappointing books. Now I'm a very generous rater. I don't like rating things under 3 stars, and both of these are under 3 stars to me, one of which doesn't really have a full rating, but this one did not come out in 2024. I just read it in 2024, and that is Final Offer by Lauren Asher. This is the third book in the Dreamland Billionaire series, I believe, and it follows the storyline of Callahan and Alana, and it's a second chance romance, and basically the brothers in this series all have to do something to get their inheritance from their grandfather, and they all really want it because their grandfather is a very rich man, and it's kind of like Disney in a book, just without it being called Disney, and there's a lot of addiction in this book, and I didn't like the way she wrote it, and some people completely disagree with me, and that's fine, but I didn't feel this was strong representation, and it was a 2 or 2.5 star for me. I also listened to it on audiobook, and I always disconnect more in audiobooks when I'm like, just listening. Sorry, I would tickle my throat. I just didn't think it was represented well, and people can disagree with me, but at the end of the day, it's reading, it's subjective. Disappointment. Here We Go Again by Allison Gotchman? I don't know. I saw when this was announced on Goodreads and I was very excited to read this. Basically, it follows two girls who need to go on a road trip together for their old like high school teacher, English teacher that died or is dying, and his last wish is to go on a road trip with them, and they don't get along at all, and we don't really know why, but like we kind of know why. But this was like a 2.5 for me, and I'm really sad to say that because like the cover is so cute, like the plot is really cute, but it felt so immature. The characters are having the same fight over and over and over throughout the book, and it's like, you guys both like each other, just be with each other. It's not that big of a book, and they kept having the same fight over and over and over. My issue with sapphic romances, which I did a lot of in June, is that I don't like the stereotyping of like queer people, and it feels like most sapphic romances, they are stereotyping them tremendously, and this one was pretty bad, and I really only liked this book because it probably deserves less, but I loved the teacher. And I just hated the couple so much, both of them. So I was very disappointed by Court of Mist and Fury, and a little bit of ACOTAR as well. But this one more, I feel like there were very interesting parts, and then there were very boring parts, and that's what I didn't like about this one. And it just really drew me away from it a little bit. I think I might have rated this higher than ACOTAR, but I heard that this one, or the next one, is a lot of people's favorite books. I had higher expectations for this one, and it just didn't succeed. Now, I feel like everyone knows what ACOTAR is. I feel like I don't even need to explain it. I can't really explain it. This is like the first actual like fantasy series that I'm like really reading, and I can't really explain the plot, but everyone knows what ACOTAR is anyways. Just read it. I feel like it's still worth it, and I'll get to that. The other big disappointment was Mr. Wrong Number, and I rated this a 3.5. It may more realistically be a 3. Again, I'm a very generous rater, but I love Lynn Painter, and I've kind of realized that like her adult books aren't really as thorough and like well written as her young adult. I feel like she succeeds way more in like young adult romances, and then succeeds in more like careless, like just like palate cleanser adult romances. And this one, I don't even remember their names, Olivia and Colin, like her whole life goes wrong, and then she moves in with her brother and his best friend, and it's a brother's best friend romance, which I feel like I typically love. But this one, it just didn't have that much depth to the characters, I feel, and that's a pattern that people have kind of found in Lynn Painter's adult romances, but I will continue anyways. I still love her. I just wish she'd write more young adult, because I really love her young adult. Okay, my 3 favorite book boyfriends I've read this year. Okay, I have my 3. Now I'm gonna start with Abby Jimenez, Just for the Summer. I think this kind of applies to like everyone. I think everyone loves Justin, I believe his name was. This was a 5-star read, or like 4.5-star read for me. No, probably definitely 5. And I just loved that, like, he's the definition of if he wanted to, he would. And he wrote like these little quotes to like find out like what she wanted on each date with like options, and then like had her like take a survey on how the date was. And they're basically fake dating because Justin gets on Reddit one day and is like, oh, like every time I date a girl, like they find the one after me. And our female main character, Emma, is like, yeah, like me too, and like reaches out to him and is like, oh my god, the same thing happens to me. So they date, and they're like, well, we could cancel it out for each other and we'll both fall in love, you know? And they do, just with each other. And it's so sweet. I loved this book. There's a lot of heavy elements in this book, so don't let the cute little cover with the little doggy like make you think otherwise, because wow, this is an emotional read, 100%, especially as someone who has like parental issues. My next one, I'm gonna go with Emily Henry, Funny Story. I loved Miles. That's his name, right? Miles. Yes. I loved him so much. He wasn't your typical like male main character, like romance lead, and I love that because like this felt very realistic. This felt like someone I would go after in real life. Like he wasn't just some rich billionaire or like literary agent. Like it was very different, especially for Emily Henry, and I loved him. Like he smokes some weed, like he's like chill, he's laid back, he likes going out, like doing like small travel, like lake days and stuff like that. And I just loved him. He was so laid back, he was so sweet. I really liked him. And I know some people didn't, and I don't understand why. I don't know. Like I don't understand it, because I feel like that's someone like I'd actually date in real life. And then the last one is surprising, and that's because I read this year, not that it came out this year, but The Goal by Elle Kennedy. What's his name again? Tucker. I loved him. Now, this was a 4-star read, I believe, for me, so it's not one of my favorite books, but I really loved Tucker. Now, this is An Accidental Pregnancy by Elle Kennedy, and I loved it. And I don't like accidental pregnancy. And Elle Kennedy is a hit or miss author for me, and I feel like a lot of people kind of relate to that. It's like some books are better than others, some just aren't good at all, and it's a very hit or miss, and I was getting very mixed vibes from this series because I loved The Deal when I read it, and Then the second one I don't think I liked that much. The third I liked a little bit more, or vice versa, something like that. And then the fourth one I was like, wow, I actually really like how this was done. He felt very mature, very sweet, waited for her, like whatever. I just thought this was a really cute book, especially for Elle Kennedy, because like I feel like she's a very, very spicy author, and this one having a little less kind of was nice, like a nice little break. Now to repeat 2 books, I have my favorite read so far of 2024, and that is Abby Jimenez, Just for the Summer, and Kristen Hanna, The Nightingale. And I plan to read more from both of these authors because these were the first books for both of these authors for me. So I'm very excited to kind of continue and read all their other books, and I do mention one in this video, so keep watching. Now, the books that exceeded my expectations. I will start with a repetitive one. Funny Story. I loved it. I don't remember if this was a 5-star for me or not, but I know it was at least darn close. And I just love the characters. I love the plot line. I love everything about this, really. And that's all I'm going to say, because I've explained this and I've talked about it multiple times in this video, and I apologize. She Gets the Girl. Now this, did not expect to absolutely devour. I read this in like a night and a day yesterday, and I loved this so freaking much. We're following Alex and Molly, and they're both going off to the same college, and Molly has a crush on a girl from high school that's going to her college, and Alex decides to help her win her over because she needs to prove to her girlfriend that she can be loyal and faithful and emotional and whatever while they're doing long distance, because Alex hasn't treated her right in the past, and both of the girls come with their struggles in the past and like home lives, whatever. And I just thought everything was so well written. I don't think I rated this a 5. I think I rated this a 4.75, and the only reason that it wasn't a 5 was because there's literally no romance until, yeah. It is a friends to lovers, and there was just such a lack of romance throughout it, but I still loved it so much, and I just loved reading about the characters, and I highly recommend this for sapphic romance. I adore this. Just don't read it for the heavy romance because it is slow burn, but it was still so fun to read. And I'm going into college in August, and I'm really nervous, and I kind of relate a lot to Molly, and I'm super excited because this kind of gave me that sense of comfort that I needed. My next one is ACOWAR. Now, I loved this one. I don't think it was a 5-star, but it was close. I started losing hope in this series and thinking maybe it just wasn't for me, and maybe I was the minority that didn't really enjoy ACOTAR. But this one, I breezed through it, and it is a chunky book, and I just loved it. And you have to read the first 2 books to read this one. Obviously, this is the 3rd book in a series, so I won't talk too much about it, but I did really enjoy this one, and if anyone's struggling to get through the first 2 books, this one genuinely is worth it, and that is coming from a new fantasy reader. Now, the series I can't wait to continue is ACOTAR. I only have the last book left. I did read the novella. I will put a picture of the last book up here, and I can't wait to read it. It is a long book, so I purposely waited for summer break, and June didn't end up being the month for me to read it, but July. And then I have the Natural series. Now, I love this, and I kind of do regret not putting it into some of the book tags. I have read The Naturals and Killer Instinct, and I will put that here. And Killer Instinct, I think, probably also was one of my favorite books of the year, too. I really should have, added these into one of these tags. I loved this. I'm loving this series so far. And there's 2 more books, I think, and a novella. I don't know if I'll read the novella, but I'm really enjoying it. It's basically a teenage Criminal Minds, and these teenagers with special abilities are recruited to the FBI to help solve cold cases, except they're not solving cold cases because each book is a different crime that is connecting to each person in the house, and it's just super interesting. There's a love triangle. The characters are all so different yet so lovable. And the first book, I still really enjoyed it, But the second book is when things start really developing, like friendships, the love triangles, like you actually start to understand all the characters and not just like the main three in this one. I have these 2 books left in that series and I do really want to finish them. Now, I have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I have read this one and the second one that I also have. I don't know why I just picked it up. There are so many books laid out on my bed right now that I really try to limit down as much as I can. I have the last one to go, which will be right here and now. This one follows a teenage girl, Pip, that decides to basically, for her capstone project, senior capstone project, if you don't have capstone is basically a project that is done senior year that kind of like, it's like one big project to do independently. And I have that at my school. Mine was fundraising books and then like letting students come in and take books out for free and keep them and try to recycle them, and I'm still going to donate them. I haven't yet, but I will be, and I'm very excited to do that because I think that's a really big thing, is recycling books and not just throwing them out. Anyways, she decides to try and solve a cold case, and each book it's a trilogy, so I can't go further than that. You have to read it. It's really good, and it's a young adult thriller or mystery. And then the last series, I can't wait to continue, is the Chestnut Springs series. Now in May, I read Flawless, and I can't wait to continue the series because I've heard such amazing things about it and I'm slowly starting to understand it, and I think the series is going to be really amazing. This wasn't a 5-star for me, but I did really enjoy it and I see the hype in it, so I can't wait to continue the rest of the series, and they're all on Kindle Unlimited too. So now 3 books that are so anticipated for me in the next 6 months of 2024. Now, we've had some really amazing releases in the past 6 months, and one of which is I will be talking about later, but for a different reason. There's so many releases that have come out and I haven't read enough of them. I keep buying them and not reading them, so I'm hopefully gonna like pick up the pace a little bit because I've been so like excited for all these books that I haven't gotten to read. But I cannot wait for Reckless to come out, and that comes out on Tuesday, which you're seeing this, I'm posting this on Sunday. Who knows if you're watching this on that day, but for me, Reckless is out in 2 days, and tomorrow I'm going down to New York City for her release party at midnight, and I'm so freaking excited. I get to go to Q&A. I don't get to meet her or anything, but I get a signed copy of the Barnes Noble Special Edition, and I'm so freaking excited, and I will be reading that on Tuesday, so whatever. Then there's Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter, and that is the second book to Better Than the Movies. I loved it. That's what got me into Lynn Painter, and I'm not a young adult romance reader really at all. It's very hit or miss for me. I feel like I don't connect to it as much when it's young adult, and I just love this one so much. I love the characters, whatever. The first book follows, I can't remember their names, even though it's like my favorite book ever, but it's been so long since I've read it. They're like rivals, like over like this like parking spots. They're like neighbors, and then he's going to help her win over a guy in exchange for the parking spot, and then they fall in love, whatever. But this is the second book to that, and I'm so freaking excited. Except they break up. It's like a second chance romance now, and I'm like, no, you guys were together in my head forever till you guys died in my head, and I have to read a second chance romance about them. I can't. It hurts me knowing that's gonna happen. And then the last one, which I don't even know if is out right now, because I feel like I've seen people on YouTube with it, but I went to Target today and did not see it, and that is The Housemaid is Watching by Frida McFadden. Now this is the third one of The Housemaid, and if you haven't read The Housemaid's Secret, and now this one, definitely do it. It is they're thrillers, and I don't really like adult thrillers, but Frida McFadden is so smooth and easy, but like such a big twist. Like, she's so talented in making it so simple yet so interesting, and I loved almost every book I read of hers. I read quite a few, and I'm not an adult thriller person at all. I only have a couple, and I mostly stick to young adult, but Freida McFadden is amazing, and the first book follows this girl that is a criminal and she needs to get a job, and she gets a very well-paying offer to be a housemaid, and things in the house are very odd and odd things are happening, and it's just so interesting. And this is the third book in that trilogy. I think it's only a trilogy. Now, the books I have that I'm super, super excited for, I will get this one off the bat. I have The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. Now, this one I believe is right after the Great War, and it's following a woman. I can't explain it, I'm not a history person, but I'm really excited for this. Just read it on your own, and I don't want to embarrass myself trying to explain the plot of this book. Lynn Painter, because I'm reading her whole backlist, and right here I have The Love Wager and Happily Never After. This one, two people have like a one-night stand or something, and then they like find each other like later again, and they decide to help each other like go on dates, and they go on dates to the same spot, so if they go bad, like they can just meet up after and get tacos. And I just love that idea. I think it sounds really fun. Happily Never After, she hires him, I think, to crash her wedding because she finds out that like the guy like cheated on her or something, and she starts doing it with him, I think. And I've heard mixed things about this one, but I still want to read it really bad. So I love Lynn Painter. And then I have Out on a Limb, and its new cover is so freaking cute. This is by Hannah Bonham Young, and they have a one-night stand. It's an unexpected pregnancy, accidental pregnancy, whatever, and they decide to kind of try to get through it together and co-parent, and there's a love story. And I don't purposely read accidental pregnancy, but I've heard such amazing things about this book that I really want to read it, and I just love this new cover. And I know it's got like, I've heard it has really amazing like representation of disabilities because he is like missing like a leg, and you can see it on the cover. I absolutely adore this, and I loved the other cover too, and honestly will still probably try to buy it somewhere. But I love seeing their faces. I think they're so cute. It's not really gonna focus. There we go. I think that's adorable. And then we have a novel love story where a girl, all I know about this is a girl gets stuck in her favorite romance, and I'm like, yeah, can't we all dream? So that is the same author as A 7-Year Slip, which many people know and love and adore. And now I have new authors. My first one is Ali Hazelwood, and I'm way behind. I read Bride, and I have literally like all of her other books that I need to read, and I do plan on reading, and I read this one first for some reason, and I really liked it. It was odd, but I know she's not usually a fantasy writer, and I know everyone adores her like contemporary romances, so I'm very excited to read her actual contemporary romance. I did enjoy this, but I didn't love it for the romance though, which was weird. But I think I would love her like STEM contemporary romances, like that's what she's known for, and I'm very excited to start reading those soon. Now I have Sarah J. Maas. Now I've already talked about ACOTAR so much, I'm not going to get further into it, but I did start it in this year, and hopefully by the end of July, early August, I will have a reading vlog of the series that I've been working on so long. And I already have like the whole editing set up, so I'm gonna keep adding on to it when I read the next book. Anyways, I need to move. I'm sweating in here because I don't have my AC on right now, and then other ones which I've already talked about that I won't get too into were Holly Jackson, who also has a couple other thrillers, and one just recently released. So I want to keep reading her new books, and I hope I really enjoy them, because I really like A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I assume I'm gonna love the third book as well, because I've gotten this far and have adored both books. And then lastly, I have Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Now I also started this year, and I also have the first book of the Inheritance Games from her, and I would love to give that one a try. And then I know she also has Little White Lies or something like that, and I don't know if I'm going to read that, but maybe if I love this series and the Inheritance Games, I will try it out. I've heard more mixed reviews on the Inheritance Games, but I will give it a fair shot myself. And that is all for today. Wow, I have over 30 minutes of footage to edit. Yikes. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and please answer some of my questions down below. Hopefully I edited this so that I don't talk about the same questions later in the video. I apologize. Thanks for sticking through the mess. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe, and I am starting my posting 2 times a week, hopefully this week. So stick around and see more, because I am going to be very consistent on YouTube now that I have graduated high school. All right, bye.